Hello guys, 4 of the largest Russian oil refineries stopped working for good, literally for good. And no one inside Russia can guarantee they will ever return back to the production of oil. And all of that amidst the greatest ever gasoline crisis inside literally every Russian region. In August alone, Ukrainian drones and now long-range Ukrainian missiles visited 7 Russian oil refineries, damaging them so seriously that they stopped working. Russians had to ban export of gasoline. The prices grew 50%, but nothing helps them. And of course, air defense is not working. That is a beautiful Ukrainian answer to one very weak man in the White House, who keeps repeating that Ukraine cannot win this war just because Russia is 10 times larger. I'm sorry, Donald Trump, size does not matter. Maybe Russia is the largest country in the world, but it is extremely poor. Its regions are very, very depressive. There are lots of families who literally do not have toilets in their flats. And they cannot pay that much money for a gallon of gasoline. And they don't have fuel for their aviation. They don't have fuel for their cars. They have tremendous queues. But somehow I don't hear Donald Trump speaking about that, with Putin mentioning the problem with their banking crisis, the failed air defense, the failed blitzkrieg, and why did Putin need to invite thousands of North Korean soldiers? No, they keep repeating Russia is big. Big does not mean strong, and one beautiful day this monstrous empire will definitely collapse. We are working on that. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see the defeat and demilitarization of Russia, subscribe, that's the only working peace plan. And remember to share these videos, this helps a lot. So during August alone, Ukrainian drones, and from what I understand, our new long-range heavyweight Flamingo missile, visited 7 Russian oil refineries. Visited them very successfully with fireworks, detonations, and here is a list of the locations targeted. Сызрань, Новокуйбышевск, Saratov, Volgograd, Ryazan, Slavyansk, Ahipsk, Novoshakhtinsk. I'm sorry. I don't like these names. So anyway, all of them were damaged and some of them stopped working in general. What is interesting among them is Ryazan oil refinery, one of the largest, the one that supplies Moscow and region with oil products. And Moscow and region were among the first to suffer from the shortages. And you know that for Putin, any problems in Moscow is way more serious than elsewhere in Russia. Because Russia is all about the centralized authoritarian rule, and it's Moscow and St. Petersburg. He worries about protests in Moscow and St. Petersburg. These are decision makers in Russia. They totally do not care about other regions. By the way, another proof that this very big, huge, speaking like Donald Trump country, will one day dissolve into many beautiful countries that have a chance to become democratic one day. So among those oil refineries was Ryazansky, which is really big, Volgogradsky, really big, and they cannot return back to production. Some of them can resume this work, others will not do it at all. So we realize that in this context of serious shortages, 4 more stop producing. Thumbs up for that. Share the videos, inform the world. That's the easiest way to demonstrate your solidarity with Ukraine, and truth matters. Why is it so bad with gasoline inside Russia, a country that once described itself as a gas station? Well, because all of them modern oil refineries, and they have always invested in the production, because Russia is a resource country, they only sell their resources, but when you sell refined oil products, they are more expensive than simple oil. So they invested and they built them from EU and American parts, because nothing good is produced inside Russia. They substituted old Soviet refineries with modern EU American built. And now, because of the sanctions, they cannot get the details they need to restore them. So one by one, they stopped working. Once again, they may cannibalize them just as they do with Aeroflot. I intentionally say not Aeroflot. But this leads to the loss of others. So you cannibalize one to reconstruct another, but the first one is gone. 80% of Russian oil refineries are EU and American built. So what happens now with gasoline? There is a huge shortage. In July and August, they banned the export. That was deadly for their budget. Let me know, do you want a separate video? Because these updates from Russian budget is just like super interesting because the process is not linear. Like every other month is many times worse than the previous. And they don't have real war on the ground. That is the failure of Putin's choices and millions who support him. So with all that, the prices rose 50%. 50% in a month or two. Just imagine that happening in your country. Now, I may have people saying me that now Russians pay the same sum of money for a gallon of gasoline as people in the USA. Yes, that is true. But don't forget one very, very, very important detail. A median Russian salary is 20% of an American. Think about that when Donald Trump keeps repeating about the greatness of Russia, that the median Russian salary of the largest country in the world that claims to be the strongest, super military, super advanced, super undervalued, a median salary with all that resources, 20% of the American. That's why they have a lot of dissatisfaction, a lot of problems, and that is a way to paralyze a monster, to suck the blood out of this empire. This is the war of the 21st century. For centuries, Russia hid important objects deep inside its vast territory and natural territory, behind the Urals, elsewhere, and that saved them. But with spiderweb, with drones, and now with 3,000 kilometer range missiles, thumbs up for Flamingo, it's possible to reach them anywhere. And you cannot ban us use our long-range missiles the way we want. So Donald Trump demonstrates that he is a bad businessman if he measures the success of the country in kilometers. I'm sorry, Japan is not that big, but way richer than Russia. And if we destroy the oil refining industry, paralyze their airspace, crash the ruble, they won't have money. Now they have problems with what to fuel their aircraft that they used to bomb us. So I think our strategy is pretty understandable and actually genius. Once again, share the videos, subscribe, join the community of the channel. And to celebrate the days of the Ukrainian independence, actually the renewed Ukrainian independence, we've decided to make minus 15% sale on our merch shop on everything. And I love it when you choose our product, t-shirts, caps, cups, stickers, hoodies, autumn is coming, and you act as our ambassadors, because these products help start conversations about Ukraine, remind people about our fight. And that is super important because some leaders are too weak, but the nations are strong. And you guess what I mean. Tomorrow, I'm looking forward to speak with you on our live 9 p.m. Kyiv, so join. We will have a flag day, a good thing to celebrate too. Let me know in the comments below what are the other topics you would like to discuss. And thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel. Subscribe to my X, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, Discord, the links in the description of this video. And remember to check my new channel, Anna Danilchuk, with weekly updates where maybe I'm speaking a little bit too long, but I love you so much. I love you so much. Slava Ukraini!